So now that we have an understanding of the differences between something that has a basic appearance and a complex appearance, I want to show you a setting that appears inside of the Appearance panel, which can help you when drawing your artwork. I'll start off by creating a very basic shape. I'm going to take just a regular circle here, and I'm going to crank up the stroke just a little bit here to make it easier to see, maybe around 6 points. And I'm going to apply a drop shadow effect to this object. I'm just going to use the basic settings here. And we know that the behavior of Illustrator normally is that whenever I draw a shape, the next shape that I draw is going to pick up the appearances that I've used in that shape that I just previously created. In fact, it really goes one step further than that. When you're using Illustrator, every time you draw an object, Illustrator picks up the settings from the last object that you have had selected. So let me show you a really quick example of that. If I create some rectangles over here, and I give these rectangles different colors. Let's say this one right here, let's give this one a different color like a blue, and then let's create one more here and give this one a red color. So now I have 3 different rectangles here. So I'm just going to now click on this yellow one. Now I'm going to create a new rectangle. This new rectangle is now going to pick up the settings from that yellow rectangle. If I now want to create a shape that's going to be red, I can hold down the Command key to return to my selection tool, simply click on the red rectangle, and now the next time that I draw a shape, that shape is going to be red. So Illustrator always picks up the settings or the appearances from an object that I have selected, and then when I create a new object, it starts drawing basically that new object using the same appearance settings from that last object. However, watch what happens here. I'm going to click on this circle right here. Now I'm going to start creating a new rectangle now. What would you expect this new rectangle to be colored with? Well, yes, a white fill and a black stroke. But this circle also has a live effect applied to it. It has a drop shadow applied to it. So when I draw a new shape, is that shape also going to have a drop shadow applied to it? Well, let's take a look and see. I'm going to click and drag, and you can see that while the object does have a white fill and a black stroke, it does not have a drop shadow on it. The reason for that is that by default, when I draw new objects, the attributes that Illustrator picks up from previous objects is only a basic appearance. In other words, when I click on an object and I select it, Illustrator only picks up the basic appearance, meaning one fill and one stroke and no effects, so that when I draw a new shape, that new shape only picks up the basic appearance settings of the previously selected object. 9 times out of 10, this is probably what you want. I mean, after all, when you apply a drop shadow to a single object, it doesn't mean that you want every new object to also have a drop shadow on it. However, there may be times when you do want that behavior. So let's head over now to the Appearance panel, and in the fly-up menu of the Appearance panel is an option here called New Art has Basic Appearance. And this setting is checked on by default inside of Illustrator, and that's the behavior that we've seen until now. Every time I draw a new object, the new object picks up the basic appearance of the previously selected object. But let's say I don't want it. Let's say I want to actually pick up the full complex appearance of my previous object. Well, in that case, I'm going to uncheck this option right here. Now I'm going to Command click on this circle right here. I'm just using Command because I'm currently in my rectangle tool, so I'm just temporarily switching back using Command or Control on Windows to temporarily access my selection tool. So I've now selected this circle, which does have a complex appearance on it. Since now I've unchecked that option in the Appearance panel, when I do draw a new shape, that new shape does pick up the drop shadow as well. So when I'm working inside of Illustrator and I'm drawing a whole bunch of shapes, and I know that, let's say, for example, I create an object that has 3 or 4 different stroke attributes applied to it, rather than have to manually add all those additional strokes to every new shape that I create, I could turn off that option inside of the Appearance panel, the setting that says that New Art has Basic Appearance, so that now, every time I draw a new object, it will pick up the full complex appearance of the previously selected object. For now, however, to avoid confusion throughout the rest of the training, I'm going to go back to the fly-up menu of the Appearance panel and turn this setting back on.